that I won't dilute myself for other people's enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I'm getting rid of the boxes, just saying I'm not going to make myself less of who I am for you.
Yeah.
So if you don't enjoy it, that's not my problem.
Settle down your troubled mind. Close your eyes.
Welcome to the Musician Secrets podcast. Today I have Millie Milner with me today. Welcome.
Hi.
This is very exciting, and I'm really glad you reached out. Just for people that don't know you, just tell us your story, where you're from, what got you into songwriting, and what you're doing.
Hi, my name's Millie Milner and I'm a queer singer-songwriter based in Yorkshire in the UK. And I kind of started songwriting as a natural progression. I'd always been into music and then I started singing, and the next step was just songwriting and playing instruments. And I've learned to get better and better, and now I write songs that are open to everyone, but my main focus is creating music and being a person that younger queer people can see themselves in, because I didn't have that when I was growing up.
How old are you? If you
I'm
know,
19.
19. Okay, growing up. Yeah, that's yeah, that's cool. So what instruments do you play? I see like a little, is that a banjo in the background? And
We've got a banjolele in the background, but I don't play that one very much. I mainly play piano and guitar, and then I play ukulele as well.
That's cool. Yeah, those are like my instruments. Like my main is guitar, then I play ukulele and a little bit of piano. Picked it up at uni, but yeah, that was. So what was the turning point where you said, you know what, music is what I want to do? Like there's no going back, because you're still really young. Like that decision must have come like early on, or was it just recently? I don't know.
When I was probably 11, 12, everyone else sort of had ideas of what they wanted to be. And I just kept panicking, and I was like, I've got no idea what I want to do. And I just started really getting into music. And I remember one time a relative asked me, and I just was like, I want to be a unicorn. I was just so fed up of people asking me. And then about a year later, I really figured it out and started to get into music more and started performing and busking, which is something I do quite often.
Yeah.
And from there, it's been no turning back. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. So let's hope I get where I want to be.
That's really cool. Like because busking, I mean, that's, you know, actually very terrifying, especially when you're doing it for the first time. Like what goes through your head, or what was it not? Was it just like natural, just standing out there, or what was going on? Like, what do you think when you're like setting up, and if you're, people listening?
I guess when I first started out, I was, I think, 15, so I was really young. And I took my best friend with me for the first time, and we just sung a couple of songs.
Yeah.
My mum and dad sat nearby.
Uh,
And now when I go out, it's sort of normal to me.
yeah.
And it's not scary anymore, because I just think these people aren't here to see me. They're here to go to the shops and get some stuff and get
Yeah.
the tea. I'm just happening to be on the side while they're going. So if they enjoy it, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
And I think it can be a little bit nerve-wracking because you get some interesting people coming and talking to you. But it taught me so many of my skills. I wouldn't be half the performer I am now without busking.
Yeah. Well, what were those skills that you were able to pick up from busking?
Connecting with my audience is a big one, because if you want people to enjoy it and give you some money and appreciate what you're doing, you've really got to be making eye contact and having a joke with them. Just general manners, looking your best, which is a really odd one, but I always try to be presentable.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to my music, because people enjoy someone who looks good and looks happy and looks confident.
Yeah.
And then just so much practice, because rather than practicing in my bedroom, I've practiced for years out on the streets. So I know that I can do what I need to be doing.
That's an interesting point that you bring up, because you can practice at home all you want, but as soon as you're on stage, as soon as people are listening, you get nervous, right? You can't, when you're at home, you don't get nervous. You're like, ah, cool, like my vocals are sick, my guitar riffs, you know, stick and all that. And then you stand on stage and people are looking at you, and all of a sudden you're getting nervous and your hands start to shake and your vocals do crazy stuff that you're not used to. So I think that's a really, you know, cool way of just practicing, you know, being out there and just doing it, because, you know, that's already good. If you say you don't, you know, it's like natural now and you don't have to like think about it.
Yeah, for sure. Someone once said to me that practicing with an audience is worth 10 times practicing on your own. So I think it's really come into effect with my life that I busked for 3 years every weekend. So now I think it's leveled me up quite far.
Wow. I have a lot of respect for, you know, you doing that. That is awesome. Like just putting into practice, go do it. That's really,
It's
really
also really fun. Like I get to test out new songs on people that are unsuspecting, and you see real reactions, and it's not someone pretending they like it.
Do you have like a set that you have, or do you just change it up every once in a while, or do you have like go-tos, or is it more like freestyling, or how do you usually go about that?
I have a list of probably 40 songs that I just know off by heart, and I just go out and whichever one I feel like playing at that moment, I play, and I just go and play maybe 20 of them the whole way through, and then start again and mix some new ones in. So every week's a different order, but it's mostly covers because, to be honest, people mainly want to hear covers when you're out and about. So,
Yeah.
but it also means I get to practice loads of different music styles, which is really good fun.
Wow, yeah, that's really good. How has that changed now? Because obviously with like COVID, that's not really possible right now. How have you managed or to kind of shift, or is it impossible to do that at the moment?
I've done a couple of online gigs. It's something I want to maybe delve into again, but it is really difficult because the atmosphere is just not the same.
Yeah.
And mainly I've worked on really building my social media. So I do a live session every Monday at the moment, and I invite another musician to come chat to me. And we ask each other 5 questions, sort of interview each other, and then both do a song, which is really good fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I saw some of those on your feed, which was really cool. You did like what was it? You had like I forgot the name. There was like a name that you had, and then you kind of had like a couple of songs, or maybe a song. Maybe that's what you were just talking about.
Yeah, I post them afterwards so people can go back and watch them again. It's a really fun idea, and I'm really excited for the next few weeks with some really cool musicians.
That's really cool. How has like music helped you, like in your life personally? How has it like just make you who you are now?
It's a sense of escapism, I guess, for everybody with music, but for me, it's this place I can go and just pick up a guitar and lose myself in it for a while, or I can listen to a song and I really connect with memories and songs. So if someone played me a song, I'd be like, that song reminds me of this time when I did this.
Yeah.
It's a really fun game that we do. At college, we used to do it, and they'd play me a song that they'd written, and I'd be like, that reminds me of being like 13 and breaking up with your first partner and like crying on your bedroom floor. I just think I connect with music really strongly, and it's really important to me.
Yeah. What makes a good song for you?
I couldn't really specify, I don't think. Like it's just easy to connect to, and something you can either see yourself or see someone you know in, I guess. Which is how I try to write music about my experiences and hope that other people understand it too.
Yeah. You've written a couple of songs. So like Troubled Minds, bro. Is that the newest one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got the Passing song, right?
Yes.
Out of This World and Close My Eyes.
Yes.
Is there any others that I forgot?
No, they're the released ones at the moment.
Okay.
Coming for you.
Nice. How's your songwriting process? How do you like is there a certain pattern, or is it just like all just comes? Is it different every time? Like, let's say like Troubled Mind, how did that come together?
That song came about when my girlfriend was going through a difficult time, and it was just everything I wanted to say to her. And it started with this line, "Settle down, you troubled mind," because I could just see what she was experiencing looking at her.
Yeah.
And I came with that one line, and I sat down and started playing the guitar, and all of a sudden these lyrics just flooded out of me. And it happens with every song I write. I start with one line, and I create the chord pattern, and then all of the song just, I like word vomit it out, and
Yeah.
it's done.
Well, with every song, you just, how long does
Yeah.
it take you to write a song then?
It depends if I'm having a bit of a slow time of it. Sometimes I'll have an idea for a song and try, and it won't work out, and I'll have a different one and I'll keep going. But when I get a solid idea, it tends to come out within half an hour, and it's just I just finish it.
Uh-huh. Do you rewrite the songs after? Like, do you like go back and look at your lyrics and like, oh, I could, change this a little, or do you just put it down? That's it. Like, that's how it is.
I occasionally refine a couple of bits, like the way that I position my words, or if I've put too many words in that aren't necessary. But I try to keep it as what it came out as at the moment I did it, because that's the emotion that came out of me, and I don't want to edit my emotion and edit the feeling that I put onto the song. So I try not to change the lines around too much.
Oh, yeah, it depends. Like, if because sometimes that will be my question, is like, do you like pick up your guitar and then write to the melody, or do you have something in mind, like a lyric, and then put it down? So here's an example. Like, sometimes I'll come up with lyrics, but there's no sound yet. So sometimes I'll have to like adapt the lyrics to the melody that I want it to sound like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I come up with the lyrics with no melody first,
Okay.
and then I come up with a melody, but I make it fit to the lyrics.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of a bit of both.
Uh-huh. Okay, so you take the music and make it fit the lyrics, not the
Yeah.
other. Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, either way, like, I've written so many songs in so many different ways. It's so hard to be like, this is how it is. This is how it happens every time. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure that my writing style will develop over time, and I'll write songs different to how I do now, but that's my current process.
yeah. You have so much time. You still got so much time to learn and to grow. Really, slogan of this entire episode is really, we don't think outside the box, we shred it. And I talk about the box because I feel like we're put in boxes a lot. Like, society puts us in a box. We ourselves put us in a box. Our friends put us in a box. And especially in the music industry, there are a lot of things that I had to learn where I thought this is how it's going to be. And then I went to study that. I went to university to Birmingham, and then turned out that was completely different than I thought it actually was. And so, I just believe that, we're put in certain boxes, or we put ourselves in certain boxes. And we need to get rid of those. Like, don't just like think outside the box and try to tolerate the box, but like really just shred it, get rid of it. Done deal. What do you think? What boxes do you believe, you either put yourself in, that you felt like the music industry puts you in, as a songwriter?
I think especially because a big thing I do tell people is that I am a queer songwriter, because it's a big part of my identity. People just go, well, you're queer and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, a big part of my identity, but it's not all of my identity.
Yeah.
And I think especially as a female looking artist in an industry where I sometimes feel like to get attention, I need to wear maybe less clothing or present myself a lot better than a male would have to. But my current slogan for myself is that I won't dilute myself for other people's enjoyment. So that's how I'm getting rid of the boxes, just saying I'm not going to make myself less of who I am for you.
Yeah.
So if you don't enjoy it, that's not my problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved because I was reading through your posts, and there you addressed an issue that somebody was commenting some not so nice things about some opinions that you had, and I loved your reaction because you said you don't have to agree with everything. Everyone's like, people don't agree with my stuff all the time. Like, that's just you as a person. It doesn't matter who you are and what you do. There's always going to be someone that disagrees with you every single time, right? And and we have the power. Like, if I don't like someone's opinion, I just unfollow them, right? Instead of like shooting them an angry message or whatnot. So you know I think yeah, you can explain it way better than I can.
There was an instance where someone that I know in my personal life was popping up to some of my posts about queer issues and had a big issue with it.
Mm.
And I was just saying, I'm not getting into this conversation because it was clear they disagreed. No matter what I was going to do, they were going to disagree.
Yeah.
But it was so easy for them to just unfollow and block. But instead, they were shooting me some really nasty messages, really hurtful things, and things that really took my breath away. And I just thought, when given the choice to just pass it off and be nice and unfollow, what's the need for the aggression? I don't mind if people unfollow me. That's completely fine by me.
Yeah.
If you're coming to me being hurtful, that's not okay.
Yeah, that's very mature way of looking at it, and that's really cool that your reaction, I gotta say, is really, I gotta applaud that, because not a lot of people would have handled it the way you would have. And I think still being respectful to others is important. I mean, I'm big on respect. I think you don't have to agree on everything with anyone. Like, that's impossible. But you can still be respectful, just because we're all human beings. Bottom line is, we're all human. And
yeah, there's always the one step more. You don't know what's happening in someone else's life. They might have complete different views to you, but they might be having a hard time too. So say nice things and be a good person, because being hurtful isn't the right way to go about anything.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I was really impressed by that post that you did, because I'm like, wow, that's someone that I wish I want. These are people I want to have around me. Like, these are people I want to see succeed, because that's, if we're kind to others, especially when they're being mean to us or rude or whatnot, that shows real growth, just how secure you are in that moment. At least we all have our moments, we all have our insecurities. I'm not saying we're all perfect, but that just shows a lot of strength on your part. So
yeah, for sure. My mum always tells me you can't fight stupid. So if someone's too ignorant to listen, don't bother trying. Just walk away.
that's really good advice. Yeah, that's basically all that needs to be said. I have a question that I like to ask certain musicians, and what skill would you, if you would go to sleep and wake up the next morning, and you could wake up with a skill and you could do it perfectly, like anything from songwriting to production to music marketing to social media, what on the spectrum would you be able to do perfectly just the next morning?
Probably networking, because networking, obviously, I do a lot of. If I was really good at it, I'd have contacts so easily. But other than that, maybe mastering, because for mastering, you need such a specific ear. It's so technical, and I just don't have it.
Yeah, that's, connecting is an interesting one, because there's the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
So I've never thought of that, never got that answer before. That's very interesting.
I think it's also, it's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know, or
Yeah.
who you don't know yet, but you go into. So, like, I'd never met you before, but being unafraid to make friends
Yeah. Yeah.
and just communicate and meet new people.
Yeah, and I appreciate when people reach out because I'm always used to reaching out, and I don't have a problem with that because that's normal, right? I just I want to get to know as many musicians as I can from all walks of life, all ages, all whatever you're doing, you know that's really cool. And this is a platform for everyone that loves music. I mean, this is all that this is about. Geek out about music, talk about what you love, talk about what you want to do, and that's it. Like, and it's really cool to see these connections happening on, like, with people on the podcast. Like, I would have never met you, Rick, like on normal circumstances, and everyone on this podcast I would have normally never met. So that's
Yeah,
really
it's so cool connecting with people in other countries and sharing experiences with them through music.
yeah. It's very, very powerful. I think music, it's a very just awesome tool. Like, I just, yeah. Anyways, I could talk about the power of music and all that. But what do you do when you have writer's block? I mean, you said like it just kind of comes, but are there like moments when you're just like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know. Just how do you have it? How do you deal with it? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I do get writer's block, but my policy is not to push too hard.
Right.
I'm not going to force an idea out of me if it's not happening. For the past few weeks, I've kind of had writer's block on and off, that I'll write a song and it won't be right. And then I won't be able to write a song. And I just give myself time and be patient with myself, and eventually a song will come, which happened a few days ago. So it just works best for me, not forcing myself to be creative, because if that idea is not there, it's just not going to happen. I think songwriting is something that can be practiced. So I write a lot of songs that I will never use, but it's just practice songwriting. But I think rather than sitting down and forcing myself, sometimes I put the time aside to write. And rather than just sitting with a guitar and a laptop, I leave them out on a desk or on my bed. And I do something else, that just a neutral thing, like I'll just tidy the room that I'm in. And as I'm doing it, an idea tends to come to me because I'm not sat down forcing it.
I've heard that a lot, that when you're like doing just like a no-brainer thing, like, I don't know, like cleaning up or something, or doing the dishes or whatnot, like your brain is like not really thinking about stuff, and that's when like
something you don't have to think about. It's like a lot of songwriters come up with ideas on the toilet. Start with nothing else to think about. If I'm cleaning, I'm not really thinking about it, but I'm still actively doing something that's not writing.
That's I woke up once at like 2 a.m. and I wrote a song and then went back to bed. The next morning I'm like,
songs. I'll do that sometimes, where I'll just turn the light off and suddenly an idea comes and I write it down and then leave it till the next day.
What's like your craziest way of writing a song before?
It was probably in college. It's not one that I've used in anything, but we had to, I think it's called, is it the Bowie Method, where you cut up different sheets of paper with different quotes on and you mix them back together. So you end up with sometimes nonsense and then you've got to make sense out of it. That's really fun. We did it with a load of zines and odd poetry books and ended up with something odd, a little bit sexual. It was really odd, but it all came together into a really crazy song, which was just good to write music for enjoyment.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never heard about that method before.
I think it's called the cut up method. You should definitely look into it. It's really fun.
I'll try that. Probably not tonight because I'm gonna go to bed in a few hours. But I'll definitely, next time I get writer's block or something, I'll just do that and see what happens.
Yeah, it's very fun, very odd, but it's a good one.
What would you say how important your attitude is when making music?
It's really important, but it's not always important to me to have a good attitude.
Mm-hmm.
The attitude's very influential on the song, so it is important, but I've written some of my best songs in the worst attitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wrote the passing song when a friend walked away from me and left me in the dust.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just hurting and seething with it. And I just came out with a song with this hurt. But I've also wrote songs like Close My Eyes in defiance and pride for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important, but more in an influential way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, attitude can be anything, but as long as it's there, that's I think if you don't have a certain attitude when you're writing a song, like it's basically a screenshot of how you're feeling at the moment. So I think that a lot of people either ignore one or the other, like they're very extreme, like only happy songs or only sad songs, right? Or only, that's what I did in the beginning. I only wrote sad songs, and there are people are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm great because I got it out,"
For sure. I just write whatever song feels right with me.
Yeah.
And if I listen to it back and I'm reminded of why I wrote it and I feel something, then it's the one to go out.
Mm. Perfect. Thank you so much. I have one last question before I let you go. Just a very, very simple one. What advice would you give? I mean, you're still really young. You're still at the beginning of your journey, which I'm really excited for you about. But, people that are maybe, just starting to get into songwriting that want to, put out their music and take music maybe a little bit more seriously, what advice would you give them starting out?
To be unapologetically yourself, but also be unafraid to share that with other people. Never dilute yourself. Always go to people and don't be afraid of reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people in the music industry are amazing and just want to be a community and lift each other up and be as powerful as we can as a group.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to reach out and group together and just be yourself and enjoy what you're doing.
Perfect. Perfect ending. That's really cool. That's really good advice. Thank you so much for taking the time and talking with me and reaching out. I've never had someone this young reach out to me. That's usually it takes people a while to kind of figure out, I can actually go and message someone. I can actually go and ask for advice. I can actually go and connect with someone. Like usually I get like a link or, oh, DM me or, stuff like that. And I don't know what they expect as a return, but I usually don't message back. But yeah, you were just really cool and just actually wrote it more than a normal sentence. Usually I don't even get a sentence from people. So yeah, thank you for reaching out and for putting out music and being you. It's hard.
Thank you so much for having me.
For some weird reason, I forgot to ask Millie about her social media stuff and where to connect with her, so I'm gonna do that real quick. You can connect with Millie on Instagram at Millie Milner Music. If you want to find her on Spotify and iTunes and all the streaming platforms for her music, just go to Millie Milner and you'll find her there. I'll link everything up as well, so you have no problem finding her. All you have to do is click the links below and I'll bring it straight to her Instagram and Spotify and iTunes account. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Musician's Secrets podcast.
I'm your host, Alise Koa. I hope you got to learn something new about producing or songwriting or mental health when it comes to making music, the fears that most musicians have when making music. So everything that's behind the scenes, behind making music, you will learn it here, because I'm basically talking to anyone that makes music all around the world. So I have a great privilege to learn all of that, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So follow this podcast if you enjoyed what you heard today, and go and share it with somebody that you think could enjoy this episode as well, benefit and learn from it. And as always, there's more information at alisekoa.com/podcast. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Close your eyes, it'll be alright. Settle down, your weary mind. Close your eyes.